Welcome back, everyone, to Radiant Resilience. My guest today needs no introduction because she has been on here. If you go back to episodes 18, 23, and then her third episode was actually titled Life After IVF. It is in between episodes 64 and 65. I'm not really sure why I didn't number that one. I was looking at, I think it was like a bonus episode or something.
Sure.
But then as I was writing that down today, I'm like, I probably should have numbered that one. I don't know. Anyways, those are the three episodes she's been on before. Carrie Hoskins, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me again. This is always so fun.
I know, I love talking to you. You're one of my favorite people. So, so we were just gonna have a, pretty casual-ish conversation today,
Mhm.
kind of see where it goes. But why don't you start off kind of telling us where you're at in your child-free after infertility journey at the moment? So
Mhm.
let's start with that.
I guess it's been, oh my gosh, I can't even think of the years anymore. I think it's been 6 years since we decided to stop.
Mm.
I kind of like as the years add up, I forget, honestly.
Yeah.
And it goes through waves of like different waves of new grief, different new experiences. And I've definitely have tried to lean into allowing space for like whatever can come up, which has always been kind of my thing. But gosh, new things just keep coming up in life and it just doesn't really stop. And I
Yeah.
think more leaning into like the expectance of that. And then that kind of allows for a lot of new, great and difficult things to process.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you've come so far in your journey. So,
Hmm.
and we also need to acknowledge that you were on the Today Show. That
I,
was super fun. How
that
was,
was super fun.
I mean, I loved watching you go on there and share your story. I think it's just such a light in this world of darkness of childhood af or childlessness after infertility. There's just not
Yes.
a lot of it out there.
Yeah,
So it
I
feels,
agree.
or at least not a lot of people talking about it, right? Because
Yes.
we've said before, we're not the story everyone wants to hear. So,
Right. I get a lot of comments online about like, we get it. Why do you have to keep talking about it? And it's
really?
like, oh yeah. And I'm like, you don't have to be here. Like, why are you here? If this is your take on my page, and a lot of them are from followers, I'm like, you don't have to follow me. Like, no one
Yeah.
is making you do that. And I'm just like, thanks for the comment. I don't know what to say because
Yeah.
if you don't want to
Well,
be here, please find where you want to be. We all deserve to find a space where we want to be.
yeah, and I know I find a lot of comfort in your page because, you're saying the things that I'm feeling and thinking and
Hmm.
validating them and then telling me it's okay. Like it,
Hmm.
and then making me feel like I'm not the only one going through it. So,
Right. Well, that's the
yeah.
point. So I'm glad it's working somewhere. But
Yes, it is. So, many of your posts right now have been about girlhood. So, talk
Mhm.
to me about that concept.
It has been like a really fun new space in my life right now. A lot of it has to do with this group of women that I've, over the past 2 years, have developed a new friendship with that I am just falling in love with. Just to be
Mm.
clear, they all have children. So I am the only one without children, but they definitely see me and my grief, which is why I feel safe and supported in them. And we all met outside of kids. Like we met at an art
Mm.
experience and we kind of all just started going to the same art gatherings and started seeing each other. And so it was all outside of parenthood. And recently one of our girlfriends she's getting her MFA in painting, and one of the
Mm.
shows that she did was all about the color red, and so she asked us to come to her show all dressed in red. And so there's like six of us and we all dressed up in red, and it was like powerful and
Mm.
we loved it so much. We like went out to dinner after. People were like, why are you all dressed like this? We got to talk about it and we were like, we should do a color date once a month.
Oh,
And so once a month
fun.
we dress up in a color and we go out to dinner, and we usually play a game or do some activity. We went bowling this month, and it's been this I was getting ready the other day to go, and I told my husband, I feel like I'm playing dress up with my friends. Like I feel like a little girl. And he was like, you're actually playing dress up with your friends. Like you all go out in these huge crazy costumes and you all play dress up and then you play together. We make silly videos, and
Oh,
it's like it's like healing this space inside of me of like a being a girl and like
Mm.
and with dealing with perimenopause, I think a lot about like a resurgence of like puberty and middle school, and I'm having a lot of those like feelings again of I'm having kind of crazy irrational emotions, and then I'm like, oh, there's my period, or like in a way that I haven't had in a very
Yeah.
long time. I can feel the hormones doing their own thing. And it's made me have to really not even have to, but I feel like I get to like step back into this girlhood space
Mhm.
and play. And I'm looking back with a different point of view because 13-year-old me definitely thought that I would have children. And like
Right.
being able to do that with a different viewpoint. Like I think a lot about what would 13-year-old me be interested in and what would 80-year-old me be interested in. And it's fun to play with that. And it's been
Yeah.
like a really fun thing to explore.
Yeah. I mean, I guess because like if you had a daughter, you had a daughter, that was, you were raising and
Yep.
whatever, like you would be doing those things. Or if you
Yes.
had, a son, you'd be playing sports, or you would,
Yep.
like tapping into that a little bit more. I can totally see where motherhood would tap into that. But then
Hmm.
those of us that don't have that, how do we find that? So,
And I was chatting with a friend who dealt with infertility and has a kid, and we were talking. She said, "I love how you do the kid things even without the kids." And she said, "I feel like
mm,
because she tried for a very long time, and she said I did a lot of the like drinking and partying because I was like, oh, when I have kids, I'm not gonna be able to do that," which is true.
mhm.
And I also did, but I'm also like tapping back into this in a way of like, I don't know, it's like this childhood fun and wonder that I get to tap into just as an adult. And it's not like, I don't know, it's very, I feel like, especially with this group of women, we're all in similar age, we're all kind of feeling that similar what is happening in our bodies.
Mhm.
We don't get to play very often, just having that space. And like I said, they do have kids. Some of them are younger, some of them are older. So, like, they get to play in different ways, but it's not the same when you're like getting ready with your girlfriends or something. And it also is different because a few of them don't drink. And so we do a lot of these activities that are not focused on drinking, which is usually the focus.
Yeah.
And it's been, like I said, bowling and painting and going to pizza. And we went to a roller skating rink recently, and it was so much fun. Like I
I
was
love
like,
that.
oh, there's a different way to do this.
I mean, I feel like as adults, we don't tap into our inner child
Yeah.
very much, right? We're conditioned to work and provide and live this
Yes.
serious life and follow all the steps that we're supposed to. And we lose that inner child immensely, because that's what we're encouraged to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have to be productive. Yeah, it's very, what are you
I mean,
producing?
I think of like there's been a few times where like Colin and I will be on a walk and we stop at the park and we like decide to swing on the swings. And you're
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, like I feel like a kid again. It's so
Yes.
fun. Or, the few times he's convinced me to go out in the snow because I'm like a hermit in the wintertime and we go sledding. Like, I never want to actually go out and like sled
Right.
because it's cold and I'm like,
Right.
but then when he gets me out there, I'm like, oh my God, this is so fun.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's why, because it's tapping into our inner child that we don't give ourselves the permission to do as
Yes.
adults.
Yes.
So,
And like, I feel like I'm dressing, like there's a lot of 90s resurgence right now in clothes. And I have this like, oh, I have like adult money I get to spend on
yes.
13-year-old me. Like I just for my birthday is on Thursday, and for my birthday I bought myself an under the counter CD player for my kitchen
Oh my
because
God.
I feel like that was like 90s rich.
Heck yeah.
And I didn't have that. I mean, I had a CD player, but I didn't have a kitchen CD player.
Yeah.
And I was researching these on eBay, and my husband was like, "Really? Is this what you're doing?" And I was like, we don't have a CD player. Like we don't, and I don't want to, like I found all my old CDs and I want to listen to them. And he's like, can't you just like stream them? And I'm like, I sure can. But I kind of want to tap into this. And I've been listening to like 3 to 4 every day in the morning. And it is so fun. Like
I love
I,
that.
I'm not skipping songs. I feel like it's making me slow down. There's a lot of mixed CDs in there, so it's like friends made CDs, and it is so much fun.
That's so cool. We got rid of a bunch of our CDs, and I'm kind of
Hmm.
bummed now that we did. I mean, I guess I never really foresaw CD players making a comeback.
Same.
Record players have, but that's
Right.
because that's like I don't know, they made that more of a novelty thing
Yep.
to have, a collector's thing to have, which actually we have avoided even jumping on that bandwagon, even though like I think it would be so fun to have a record player and we love music and my husband plays Spotify all day, every day.
Yeah.
But we know that it'll be one of those things we end up spending a ton of money on
Yep.
records, right?
Yes.
All the collector's
Yes.
ones and everything. So he's like, not yet, but
Yes.
I have a feeling we'd cave on that. But yeah, kind of that same thing. I mean, but I'm kind of sad now that I hear you talking about the CDs that I threw all mine away. I will say Colin had an OG iPod
Oh yeah, I have one
in
of
high
those too.
school.
Yes.
And he has dug that thing out and keeps charging it to look through some of the stuff we used
Yes.
to listen to that we've kind of forgotten about
Yeah.
over the years.
That's why I feel like I'm not skipping
And
songs on some of these albums where I'm like,
yeah.
I don't remember this song, but it really it's slowing me down a lot, which is kind of fun. And I just have to listen to whatever is on this album or whatever
Yeah.
mixed CD somebody made. And it's actually kind of funny because a few years ago I encouraged my husband to get rid of his CDs. And
He's like,
then
what the heck,
kind
Carrie?
of. He was like, "So you kept yours?" I was like, "I guess I did." I wasn't really like I don't really remember going through them. I think it's because I had them in my car for so long and then I recently sold my car
Mm.
and so I was cleaning out the car and I found like all the like books of CDs because that was the only place we had a CD player.
Oh yeah.
And and now I'm like, well, and I was like, "Do you want me to like get you new like replace your CDs?" He was like, "I do not care as much as you do." And I'm like,
Mm.
"Cool. Then this is kind of just for me and I'll listen to my 90s country and grunge music."
I love that. Did you actually have a CD player in your car that you just sold?
Yes. It was from 2000, it was a 2006 car.
Did
Yes.
you, did it still work?
It did. It
Oh,
did.
wow. Because I had my car was a 2008 that I just got rid of a couple years ago. But I couldn't get any of the CDs that were in there out and I couldn't
Oh,
play
yeah.
them
Yeah.
anymore. It like went kaput. So I am amazed that yours kept working.
I bought this car like from an old couple who never drove it. There was like
Ah.
less than 80,000 miles on it, even when I sold it. And like this like young couple that I sold it to, they even said, "Does that CD player work?" I was like, "It does. The lights don't come on, but you can press play
Okay.
and it will read the CDs."
Was it a sing? Oh, you said CDs. Was it a changer?
No, it just had one. It just had one, which maybe
Oh,
it was like less parts, but
yeah. Mine was like a 5 CD
yeah.
changer, I think, and eventually it just quit changing,
Right.
and I
I
couldn't
don't
get
even
them
know
out.
if my new car has a CD player now that I say that out loud. Like
Mine
I was
doesn't.
thinking about it and I was like, I don't think it does, but I haven't looked. And
Did
I
you get a
had
new one?
it's like a 2018 car, so it's not like
Okay,
super new,
didn't
but
know.
it could. But
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
It
Oh my
probably
gosh.
doesn't.
Well, that's so fun. So clothes, the dates with your friends where you're dressing up, the CD
Yes.
player. Are there anything else? Is there anything else that's popped up for you for the girlhood stuff?
A lot of this also came out of watching Love Story with Carolyn Bessette Kennedy and JFK Jr.,
Ooh, I've been wanting to watch that.
which I mean, it's messy, but like I remember when this was happening and like every song that came on the soundtrack, like I was like, oh, I know all the words to this song. Like it was so,
Mm.
I forgot about this song. And that kind of made me want to like explore a little bit of like with the music and the clothes and just like, and I wrote a piece about this on my website recently of how like Carolyn Bessette Kennedy was very like minimalistic and I was more like Lisa Frank maximalist.
Okay.
But I loved the idea of like tapping back into this previous self. I keep like a junk journal, which is essentially like scrapbooking, but like not as fancy. And my girlfriend and I go to once a month, there's a local person who hosts an event where like hundreds of people come and just journal and like we just glue and
Oh.
it's so fun. And she and I have been getting like 90s stickers and Lisa Frank stickers to just bring and like play with stickers and color. And again, it feels like this really childlike. We usually bring candy and it's like a sleepover but like at a cafe and you're done by 8 and you can be asleep by 9.
That's so fun. I just recently went to a silent book club. Have you heard
Oh,
of
I've been
those?
so into this. Yes, I've wanted to try this.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun. Well, it's so funny because I am a social person and I'm not at the same time.
Hmm.
Like, I think also my job, because I have to be social
Yes.
4 days a
Yes.
week with people, multiple people a day, that when I'm home, I just like not being social.
Hmm.
And I find myself getting less and less social. But so my husband works at a brewery and they were hosting this silent book club night. And so he was like, "You
Nice.
should come, you should come." I was like, okay." So I went and it was, I think the first half hour to an hour is like the social hour, but you don't have to socialize. Like, it's just kind of like show up, get your drink, get your table. If you know some people there, you can join them. Everybody brings their book. There was like a QR code that you signed in on,
Hmm.
and you could put your book that you were reading on there so everybody could kind of look at what everybody was
Yes,
reading.
love that.
Yep. And then I sat at the bar, and a couple of people that came up to get drinks, I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I want to read that book." Or they would
Yes.
comment on my book. And so it was like a little social. And then it's a solid hour of silent reading. And I'm telling you, it's quiet. Like, I was like, there's no way. We're at a bar. Like, people are going to chit chat. No, it was quiet. They make the announcement that it has started now.
Well, I love that because I can't read when people are talking.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
So it was quiet. Even my husband, because he was bartending it, he was like, "I don't know what to do. I'm just quiet for an hour."
I think I've
So,
seen a meme or like a video of a bartender sharing a video of this being like, and it was like you could hear a pin drop.
yeah, so he did have lo-fi music on, but it was pretty
Okay.
quiet,
Yeah,
and but
yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
did have that in the background, which was actually kind of nice. It wasn't
Yeah.
distracting music. And then when that hour's up, everybody leaves.
I'm so into that. I started following them on social media, and I think that there's one in town, and
Mhm.
I'm very interested.
Yeah.
We, my girlfriends and I, this group of girls, we just started a book club. So
Oh,
that's been
fun.
kind of fun too. And it's like, and I'm still in my master's program for writing,
Yeah.
so I'm treating it like school, and it's like a way to chat and take notes on books. Although I showed up with my book, I wish it was near me last time, and I had like all these tabs and notes, and they were like, "Okay, Carrie," and I was like, "I'm in school right now. This is how I treat a book."
Is it fiction?
It's whatever you want it to be. Mine was the last
Oh.
book we read. Last two books were fiction, but I still read it
Okay,
like,
so hold on. Tell me this concept because I have been reluctant to join a book club. I love to read, but like
mm-hmm,
I want to read what I want to read, and I don't want
mm-hmm.
somebody in the group picking a crappy book that I have to power
That's
through
a
and
part
take
of
my
it. Yeah.
time, you know. But are you saying you guys all just read whatever you want?
No, no. One
Oh, okay.
person picks a book, and
Okay.
like the first book, not everybody had time to read, so we just listen to it.
Okay.
Not we, most people just listen to it, and it's not we're like if you even if you don't read the book, we're like still come and talk about it. You can
Yeah.
audible it. Where we just want to get us together reading
Yeah.
about
And I
books.
do love that part of it, like getting together with my friends and talking about a book. I don't know, my to be read list is miles long, and
Same.
I don't have a lot of time in the day. And so
Hmm.
I'm like,
I mean,
you
I'm reading
know,
like 50 books a semester just for school, and I
oh,
said yes to this. But
mm,
I was like, I just want to be with you guys and I want to talk about books.
yeah.
And we read
Yeah.
this delicious book last time called The House in the Cerulean Sea. And
Mm.
it's so good. It's kind of like it's not a young adult novel. I just learned
Mhm.
a young adult novel has to be told from the point of view of a child, which totally makes sense. But it seems like a book that maybe like a teenager would be into. It was so good.
Okay. So wait, what's the difference between a young adult and like, I don't know, where does it become adult?
when it when the main character like when the point of view is through an adult, that's an adult book. When the main point of view is through a child, that's a young adult
What
book.
about a teenager?
That would be young adult. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know this. My friend writes young adult fiction. This is why
Oh.
she informed me on this. 'Cause I was like, "Well, this is for kids." And she was like, "No, it's from an adult's perspective." And I was like, "Oh, that makes sense."
Interesting. So how is your book writing of your book, those of us in the childless after infertility world are highly anticipating.
It's coming along. I'm so excited. I'm still looking for a publisher. So I just
Okay.
recently got some things together to start querying because I want a literary agent. But I have I have a 1.5 more semesters and I should be done. So by
Okay.
November, I'm hoping to have a completely edited book. And it is very interesting, like coming back this many years later. Because I initially wrote the book 2 years ago and now I'm
Oh.
rewriting it through school essentially. And
Mhm.
I'm like sending chapters away to be workshopped. And it's so different. Like when I look at my old writing, I'm like, oh, who was that person writing that? Like we are different people. We're focusing on different things, which is
Mm.
great because like school is working, right? Like
Yeah.
it's going well. Um, but it's coming along and I really hope I can get it published. Like I have a feeling
Yeah.
it's going to happen and it's really exciting.
Yeah. I mean, have you looked into self-publishing? I don't know how any of that works, but I know
I
some people
have, but
self-publish.
I'm like I've always wanted to traditional publish since I was a kid, so I'm going to try for that. And
Yeah.
then but the book will be published no matter what, but I kind of want to go for some traditional publishing.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds really fun, especially as a
Yes.
book person. I'm like, ooh, a publishing company. That sounds so
Yes.
like formal.
Yes, I feel the same way.
Yay. And how has it been like emotionally, like, because you said it's been so long.
Mhm.
I'm sure it was a very different experience in the beginning. So emotionally now looking back, how has that changed for you?
It's still very emotional.
Mhm.
A lot of stuff like I just wrote the chapter a couple months ago about where I delivered my daughter stillborn
Mm.
and like that was like I could physically feel I still felt sick like writing it, but I remember writing it the first time and I felt the same way, but this time felt I don't know more contained and like it's like I
Mm.
have some sort of control on it because I'm telling it and it gives me so much healing through it because I'm going through tiny details that I remember and
Yeah.
like the color of the door and where the window was and just like
Mm.
these very small details that meant so much to me in that moment and it's like going back and unearthing that is such an interesting process and I have learned so much through my schooling because of like writing about a traumatic event or a traumatic part of my life. It's so cathartic. Like
Mm.
there's such like an ownership of it that makes me love it even more because I'm like, damn, I did that. And like,
Yeah.
and I still am happy. Like I did not expect that. And like
Mhm.
having that power over it feels really good.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, because I'm about 2.5 years out from my
Hmm.
embryo transfer, and I've been thinking about it a lot lately about where I
Hmm.
am now versus where I was then. And
Right.
I still have my moments where I'm like, oh, maybe I could do some IVF again. Maybe I could.
Hmm.
But I'm like, are you insane? Like, I have come so far, I feel like, in
Hmm.
my healing in those 2.5 years that the thought of going back to some of that just terrifies me. But, like now, I mean, I think you and your story and your posts have really helped me in like trying to find the joy and gratitude in
Hmm.
the life now because I don't have a bad life.
Right.
But I think that grief is really, really hard in the beginning to accept, but this isn't how I wanted it. So
Yeah. That's a super valid response to all of that.
how,
And like
yeah.
even I don't know, there's a couple of friends I have online that are like going back to trying again
Ooh.
and they're into it. I know that's not for me, but also that doesn't mean it can't be for somebody else. And I think the older I get, the more I learn of how little black and white things there are, and things are so gray and in the middle and in the between. And like that's where most of the space where we live. Like even when we had discussions in our book club about like, well, it's this or it's that, and I'm like, is it? Like it's
Mm.
we're all interpreting this in our own way, and there's no like right or wrong. And if it is right or wrong to me, that doesn't mean it's right or wrong to somebody else.
Right.
And it's such a, I just feel like the older I get, I'm like, who knows what we're doing? Like, we don't know. And that's kind of the beauty of it.
Yeah. So you mentioned a little bit ago perimenopause. Can you talk
Hmm.
about that a little
Sure
bit? Like,
can.
I'm curious for my own, selfish reasons, but has that caused any like new form of grief for you in regards to the
That's a great
childlessness?
question. That's a great question. Not necessarily like in the childlessness way. There is a lot of like I remember because I have my old, or I shouldn't say my old, my previous gynecologist retired, who I loved, and somebody took over her practice. And when the first time I met her, she was like, "Oh, have you ever had a transvaginal ultrasound?" And I was like, "Girl, yes. Like I've
Hmm.
had many." But so like having those kind of experiences again have been interesting.
Has that been triggering at all?
Like there was no, not necessarily with
Okay.
my perimenopause, but
Okay.
I can totally understand like how it would be, and especially because like I started an IUD, oh gosh, it's almost like 8 months or so ago, and
Okay.
this is the first form of birth control I've used.
Mm.
Because a lot of people are like, "Oh, if you stop trying, do you use birth control or not?" And we just didn't.
Mhm.
And they were like, "What if you get pregnant?" And I was like, I don't see that happening, but we're not really thinking about it. And we didn't. That wasn't what was happening. Um, but over the past like 2 years specifically, the emotions have been so erratic that I
Mm.
remember my gynecologist saying, "We just want to make sure we keep you out of behavioral health." And I was like, "That feels dramatic." And then this past year, I was like, "Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I would like to discuss hormone replacement therapy or something because it got weird." And like I think if anything, I felt I went to these darker spaces like I had during infertility, and I had felt so stable. And this kind of like, I feel like it kind of knocked me down a few pegs where I was like, whoa, I don't feel like I have control over my emotions again. And I was like, I don't like that. Like, that was something that was so difficult for me with infertility. So, but there wasn't like a reason for it. It wasn't
Right.
like, it was just like, what's happening? And then
Yeah.
when I went to the doctor, she was like, "Oh, you are checking off all the boxes for perimenopause." And I was like,
Really?
"Okay, okay."
Because I can, like, as I'm thinking of that for myself, because I'm 38. So,
Mm-hmm.
like early 40s are coming around
Mm-hmm.
the corner here. And also going through all the rounds of IVF that I went
Right.
through, I wouldn't be surprised if it hits me earlier than most
That
people.
was also discussed in my appointment because
Really?
I'm in my early 40s and they were like, "This is a little early," and I'm like, "I get it, but something's going on."
Well, yeah,
And
I
then
mean, we fucked with our hormones so
yes,
much and,
yes,
so many times and all of that. So as I think about myself going through that journey, I think it could be either oh my gosh, this is now the door has officially
right,
closed for me.
yes,
Or I'm also wondering if ends up being a little bit of a relief for me because I haven't fully closed that door
right,
and for my body to just go, enough is enough. That's it. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I think
I
it's going to go either way, but I'm not really sure.
yeah. Right, and you will never know until we're in it. And
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know, I think because since I knew I didn't necessarily want kids, I had somebody recently tell me I feel like you still want children.
What?
I know, and that was my response. I was like, "What?" And then I started crying because I was like, "God, you're
Oh.
like this is bringing up some weird feelings." And she was like, "I think see your response. I feel like it's," and I was like, "No, I'm crying because I kind of can't believe that someone would say that to me."
Oh
And I
my
said
God.
the only way like would want children is like if one of my friends died or my sister-in-law died and I took their children. Like that's the only way, which I'm not banking on that. So like it's such a weird response to have. Also, they don't know me very
Well,
well.
I want to dive into this a little bit more
Okay.
because I recently, okay, so it's been, like I said, 2.5 years of
Mm-hmm.
me going through the grief, trying to figure out what I want to do, if I want to pursue anything else, and then also just not, like you've said before, not want to be sad and angry all the time,
Hmm.
wanting to enjoy my life as it is. I've gone through so much of that healing. And then I had this woman who on Facebook, who, she's commented on my stuff here or there,
Sure.
blah, 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 whatever. Older lady, sends me this message completely out of the blue. And it said something to the effect of, I know you're going to have children. A baby is in
Oh,
your future. I just know it, Tawny. But she told me I had to do three things.
I'm so curious of what these three things
And actually,
are.
maybe I should pull it up just so I don't butcher it. Um, okay, yeah, it's right here. So relax was one.
Oh, that one. That one. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Relax
Mm-hmm.
was one. I was like, you think I haven't fucking relaxed over 2.5 years? I'm not tracking my cycle.
Right.
I'm not paying attention. I like,
Oh, that
if
brings tears to
there,
my eyes.
yeah, if there was any a time that I have relaxed or not relaxed in this entire process, it's been in the last two
It's
and a half years.
right. It's now, right now. It's
So that was one. Two, this is a good one. Forgive those who have hurt you.
oh, because people who have gotten pregnant have forgiven everyone around them.
I
That's how
don't
that
even know
works.
what that one means. Like,
Right. Right.
people who have hurt me in general in regards to infertility, in like, what are we saying here?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Okay. And number three is open up your heart to all of God's blessings.
Oh, I was waiting for that. I felt like if the forgiveness was part of it, that
Yeah, and it
is
says, I truly believe you can have a baby. I don't mean to give you false hope, but for some reason, I believe there is a baby in your future. So I had a similar reaction to what you're talking about. I bawled my fucking eyes out
uh-huh.
for like an hour, and I mean, hysterically crying. And I tried to analyze it because I'm like, why is this upsetting me so much? And I think a lot of it was because that comment might have been appropriate a couple of years ago.
Hmm.
And now I I don't even know how to process that comment.
Right.
And
Well, and
I'm like, sorry, I'm
that's
38
okay.
years old. I've done all this IVF. I've been off of birth control since I was like 27. It has never happened. Why do you think you have the answer to my problem?
Right. Right. That is a great question because I think it says more about that person than
Mm,
it does about us. Because you're like, this isn't this isn't inappropriate to say, even if you are psychic or something and you see the baby, I don't think you should say it, Like it's like
I mean, it
it's
just, at this point in our journeys,
yeah.
I don't know how that is supposed to help. Like, what? So
Right.
I'm supposed to take that and go have all this hope again that I'm
Yeah.
gonna, and then bring myself backwards,
Hmm.
in my opinion,
Hmm.
to where I was a few years ago because this one person thinks that it is just gonna happen for me.
Yeah. That's a big ask.
Yeah.
That's like a big ask. And
And so for
I, oh,
somebody to tell you that you still want a baby, one, how do you know what I want?
right. And that's
Like,
kind of why I think I had a strong response where I was like, oh, like I'm giving off that impression. And then I was like, who cares what impression you get of me? Who
yeah.
cares? That's your work, not mine.
But also, how are you supposed to live your life wanting this thing that is essentially out of your reach at this
Hmm.
point?
Hmm. Yeah.
Why would you want to live your life hoping, like wishing that you always had that thing? Because then you're just living in the past. You're
Yeah.
angry all the time. You're an unhappy human. I think you'd be living your life that way.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it's like a forward moving emotion. Like I
Right.
was just writing about the chapter in my book when a lawyer called us to see if we wanted to sue the hospital for malpractice. And I was like, I mean, like it had crossed my mind, but it was not something I wanted to pursue. And I never said it out loud. And I remember Brad was so upset. And he said, do you think this is going to bring our daughter back? And it
Mm.
was just quiet on the other line. And then Brad said, that's the only thing we're interested in. So,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, Brad, that was not what I was expecting you to say, but that's the reality of it. Of like, and I get it. In some cases, it's the right choice. It was not for us. I did not feel that. Even when we went to the grief counselor and they were like, do you blame anybody? Nope.
Mm.
Nope. Like, it's not, because that's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
I felt like I could go into that and then I would probably be really unhappy for even a longer time. And I was just really focused on like, I just want to feel good. And yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes I still have really hard days. Like that's
Yeah.
actually a really common thing. But that doesn't mean that all days are hard.
Right. Right. Well, and I don't know, to just keep pursuing that, like in the state that I was in of it all consuming, because it is all
Yes, it
consuming
is
all
all
the time.
consuming. Yes.
Like it has been, I was just telling Colin the other day, like it has been so nice to not have to think about doctor's
Yes.
appointments, to not have to think about, I still can't get on the supplement train.
Same.
I still am having like PTSD over that
No,
because
that's real. Like I remember when I threw out my medicine cabinet and it was a feeling
Mhm.
like
I mean, I've thrown a lot out, but I've also felt like I should probably be on like just a multivitamin, every day or
but there's a
something.
feeling around it of
Mhm.
like, no, there, I know exactly what you're saying. And it is like, okay, I don't know. Yeah. It's just
Yeah,
like, it's
so
almost like muscle memory of you
yeah,
like taking a pill every day and you're like, oh, okay, that's not for that. It's for my bones or something.
right. Or just the freedom of not having to
Yes.
remember to do that. Like,
Yes.
I don't know. So I just can't, I don't know. I mean, we've talked so many times about the things that people say, but I do think it's really interesting for people to come to you and to me at this point in time and try to be like, you want this. And also, I also already feel like I sort of gave up. And I actually saw you did a post on this the other day, I think, on, just because you walked away from it,
Oh,
infertility doesn't
yes.
mean you gave
Yes.
up. And
Yes.
I have felt like I just gave up and maybe, I've made myself to feel like maybe I didn't want it as bad as I thought I did because I didn't pursue adoption and I didn't do all of the other things and whatever. And so then I think for somebody to say that, what she said to me also was like just reiterating that I didn't do enough or I haven't done enough and I
Yes.
haven't been
Yes.
pursuing enough. And that
And
I think
nobody,
hurt me.
yeah, for sure. That is a very hurtful thing to like feel. And
Yeah.
nobody can know except us, right? Like
Yeah.
nobody can know, but it's still it's hard when people put their like baggage on us because it's like this person who said it to me, she is a mom. It is, and she even was like, "Can I even talk to you about my kids?" And I'm like, "Yes." Like I wouldn't want you to like keep who you are away from me.
Yeah.
So like I can talk about your children. I might not want to hear about your birth story, but we just met, so I think that's an appropriate response. And like I don't know, it's such an interesting I have to do a lot of like well, I've learned a lot not to hold other people's feelings as much because it's like that is so much more about you than it is about me. And I've got so much going on over here
Right.
that it's hard to hold everybody's feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just exhausting. I'm
It's
like,
exhausting.
and
And there's,
also like I was just telling Colin recently, I don't even and this is going to be a whole other can of worms, but I don't even get invited to kids' birthday parties.
that's, this is a very real thing. So my friend just invited me to hers and she said, I feel like you don't get invited. And I said, that's true. I don't. And she said, do you want to come? And I said, I kind of do, just to like
And I
be there
don't
with our
know.
friends.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I want to go, but I've
Yeah.
never been even given the option
Yeah. Let
on
me make the
that.
decision. Yes.
And recently, so I have a very dear friend right now that's pregnant and she is has just been amazing through this whole thing about when
Oh,
she told me she was pregnant, she's
mm-hmm.
been amazing because she's listened.
Right.
And she did invite us to her, it's a co-ed baby shower, and
Mm-hmm.
she invited us. And that was another thing I told my husband, and I think that's what sparked the conversation, is I was like, that is something no one invites me to.
Yeah.
And I get it. Again, I don't know that I would want to go, but I
But
always
let
a
me make
gift.
the, yeah. And like include me because this is also like an exclusion. Even when like people I know are like friends of friends get pregnant and they're like, oh, well, I didn't want to tell you. And I'm like, isn't that weird though? That like you still don't want to
Yes.
tell me? Just tell me.
Yes.
Even when I was trying to get pregnant, it was like, now you're keeping secrets from me and I feel like I'm being excluded and it hurts even
Yes.
more. Like,
Yes.
let me just deal with it and then we can move forward.
And the further I get along in this journey, so I imagine you feel the same way. Like, we know that this is just a normal fact of life. People are going
Yes.
to continue to get pregnant. They're going to
Yes.
have babies. I know that. So
Yes.
don't keep it from me. And as I heal myself, it will get easier every time.
Yes,
I don't need you to
absolutely.
decide that for me.
And now, like, I have some friends becoming grandparents.
Yeah, I've
And
thought about that being my
and
future
it's
as
a kind of
well.
a whole new thing. And I'm like, okay, this is a different kind of grief that I'm working with. And please just tell me. Please just tell me. Like
And maybe
one
you don't want to sit there and like you were talking about this girl who doesn't know about talking about kids with you. Like,
Mhm.
I want to hear about my friends' kids. I want to hear about
Same.
how things are going, but I also don't want that to be the 100% main focus
Yes.
because that is
Yes.
not something I can relate to.
Correct. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And like one friend that I do have that is a grandma, she always checks in. This is why we're good friends. Where she's like,
Yeah.
"Do you want to hear about it or do you not?" And that alone is like that's a green flag. Yes. The
Yeah.
fact that you're seeing me in my grief makes me want to hear your joy. Like that is the reality.
Yeah, I've told people that a lot. Like, just let me know or ask me if you're unsure. Do you want to hear about this? Do you want to
Hmm.
hear about this? And more than likely I'll say yes. But,
Yes. There's
because
been
you
a few
just
times I
acknowledge.
say no. There's a few, but it's also like
Hmm.
I'm just keeping it real.
Yeah. Yeah. And people want to know how they're supposed to handle things.
Yes, they
So
sure do. They sure do. And it is
until
often on the griever to tell them how to do it.
until like they screw up and then they get defensive.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah.
Oh man. So I know we've talked a little bit about this before, but as far as friendships go as you go through this journey, I mean, how do you find the good friends that you found?
I was just talking about this with my current group of friends, and one friend was like, "Do you remember the first day we met?" And I was like, "Kind of." I think it was at like a social gathering. It was 2020 because it was right before COVID happened, and it was like this entrepreneurial gathering, and she said, "Yeah, the first time I met you, you said, 'Oh, I'm Carrie and I'm here because I'm writing about my daughter that died.'" And I was like, "Oh
Mhm.
my God, I said that to you like right away?" Like, whoopsies. I was raw. And she was like, "No, it was refreshing." Like I was like, "I know exactly what I'm getting into." And she was like, "And I wanted to get into it with you more." And I thought, "Oh, that's when you know your people are there when they like see it and they're like, okay, like
Yeah.
that sucks, but I still want to know, like I want to know about it." And
Yeah.
I also think for me, I really was focused on finding friendships outside of like child activities like
Mhm.
that, like a lot of my like teachery things when I was a teacher, it was all focused on the kids as it should be as a teacher, but like that still came with a lot of baggage for me. And with my new girlfriends who all have children, they see it, they're aware of my grief, and I try to do the same for them, just that they have different kinds of grief, but also the majority of them are like, I'm not like, I never got along with the moms in the mom group. And I
Mm.
wasn't like, my whole life is my child. And that I think has been a refreshing thing because that was my mother. Like, my mom and I are very close, but also she went back to work early because she was like, oh, I don't want to be home with you.
Mhm.
And she got shamed for it, but she was like, I loved my career. And I think I saw that as like a positive thing, but I wanted to be that Pinterest mom, right? That was
Oh,
like
yeah.
that so kid focused. And it's nice to see women that aren't that. And their kids are great. I love their children
Mhm.
and they know who I am and we're a part of each other's lives. But that just like acknowledgement of, yeah, no, I don't want to go to a mom's group.
Yeah, I've also had friends tell me before, like they feel bad complaining about their kids or
Hmm. Hmm.
motherhood. And I'm like, girl, if you're gonna complain about it, like
Yeah.
I know I am not, even though I don't have kids and I wanted them and whatever, like I am not naive to the fact that parenthood is hard. And
Yeah.
it's okay
Yes.
that it's hard and frustrating sometimes and
Yes.
you hate it. That's okay.
Yes.
So, maybe other moms aren't quite the safest space for that, but
Which is real, which is real.
Mhm.
And also, I don't know, we're all like very creative. We all have these creative jobs, and that is like a connecting factor that really brings us together. And it feels like I saw a meme once that was like, real healing is when you like love your middle school self. And I
Mm.
feel like that's what I'm doing because middle school was not chill.
I was gonna say, why middle school? I mean,
I think puberty and
it's
like
awkward as
it's
hell.
yeah, you're awkward, you have all these hormones. I was this tall at 13. I was 5'11. Like boys were not an option really because they were like I was like holding them like a baby or something. It was so uncomfortable. It was so
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
my nephew is 13 right now and he's in seventh grade. And me and my husband keep talking about how awkward of an age seventh and eighth grade was. I mean, you're not a kid anymore, but you're not a teenager
Yep.
fully because it is an awkward age. So I think that's an interesting comparison. So to love yourself like you were in middle school again.
And but to like them, like, but to really like that person. Like I was weird, and I mean, we all were.
Yeah.
I wrote about this shirt that I had that I wanted because it was kind of ugly, and I liked it because nobody else had it, and so like I wore it all the time because nobody else had it. And like I found a picture of me the other day, and I'm like, that is still a really ugly shirt. Like I don't think I would wear that today. But like I was testing the waters out of like
Yeah.
being different, and gosh, I was so embarrassed all of the time and just
Oh,
loving that version of myself being like, girl, we were figuring it out and we made
yeah.
it. We have a
Yeah.
CD player in our kitchen.
Yes. I was a theater nerd in middle school.
Okay, yes.
And I had come out of private school. I was in private
Oh,
school for all of elementary school, and then I went to a public school. So I was the weird private school
yep,
girl, and then I became a theater nerd, and then in high school I became a cheerleader, so that just changed dramatically too.
sure.
But yeah, so that's really interesting. I kind of want to look back on those years now and
Yeah.
kind of pinpoint some of that stuff because you are just trying to figure out who you are as not a kid anymore.
And now I feel I'm trying to figure out who I am as not a mother. It's like a very
Yeah.
similar transitional phase with a lot of hormones.
I know puberty is such a hard time too, but I don't think you're aware enough at the time to really
No.
acknowledge it. Everything just feels so dramatic and over the top and it probably was the hormones and not just, I'm a teenager and I don't know anything
Yes.
about the world. So
Well,
then
like what is it? Like our brains weren't fully developed. So like we couldn't
uh
fully grasp the things and we were all trying to fit in. And I remember doing the project where you like carried the 5 pound flour bag of baby around. Like that was such a big deal to me because I assumed I'd be a mother. And like now looking back on that and being like, girl, we didn't get it, but we got a lot of other things. And
Mm.
like thinking about what if she were to walk into my house right now? Like she'd be like, wow, this is cool. Like you have
Okay.
like colors and a dog and you have your own like extra room as a closet. And like I never imagined that. And being able to be like, it wasn't what we imagined, but like it's still pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and then showing that younger self of you that it's okay,
Yes. Yeah.
like because I think that's important for what you're putting out in the world too. Like
hmm
if younger girls come across your account or something like that and
hmm
know that it's okay, life will be okay if you don't
hmm
have children because our society has made it so the opposite too.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's
So
been fun. It's been like a fun way to explore my 40s.
yeah. Yeah, that is fun. What kind of triggers are popping up for you now? Because those obviously change over the years,
hmm
but from everybody I've talked to, they say they just change or your reaction changes
hmm
to things. So you mentioned a little bit of the grandparent thing, but what else
I
is
think that's the main one at the
okay.
moment is the grandparents because like my dad, he married somebody who has children, adult children, and they had children. And
Okay.
so then I was like, oh, my dad's a grandpa, even though they're not really in each other's lives, and my dad doesn't like see the kid because there's a lot of drama there. But like that was really hard of like I had to like take a day off of my life to be like,
Mm.
okay, My dad is technically grandpa. I didn't get to do that. My brother doesn't want children. So that was really, really hard. Probably one of the hard things I've dealt with in a few years.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trade places with this new mother in a second because they are not doing well. And like
Mhm.
it just knocked me to the ground. And I think when I was talking about that, I think this is what gave some people some ideas of like, oh, well, you must still want it. And
Oh,
it's like, well, actually, I feel like part of being an adult is holding more than one emotion at the same time. And I didn't really learn that until infertility, specifically with grief.
yeah.
And I can still be super sad about that and not want children. Like both of those things can happen. And yeah, that was like honestly devastating. And I have a lot of boundaries with it. Like I'm like, oh, I don't really want to talk about it and I don't really want to hear about it because there was talk of maybe Brad and I raised the child
Oh, you did tell me that story.
and
Mm.
I was like, nope, no thank you. Like I that's not something that I'm interested in. And that's weird to like and this happened when we were trying to when we were dealing with infertility. I had another family member who could not legally raise their children and we were asked and I was like, I can't do it because that's going to put me attached to these people that will probably never leave me. That will show up on my door and bring drama and want something and I don't feel up for that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that part of healing from this process too is getting to a point where, like I said, when finding the joy and gratitude in the life that you have, you know that a child of any capacity is going to change what it is now. And
Correct.
when you've gone through that grief process of, that's what I wanted, I was prepared for it at a certain time, I was willing to give up everything for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm not so sure about that,
Mm-hmm.
that's a huge ask of anybody to,
Mm-hmm.
and then especially once you've grieved that process of, you have to, that's part of the process is letting go
Yes.
of that being your life.
Yes. And like I worked really hard to be okay enough to be in a space of I don't think that I want to do that. And then I
Yeah.
had guilt about that, but that was like, okay, this is another process thing that I can work through. But I chose myself, and a lot of
Mhm.
people aren't really into that, and that's fine. But also, I don't think a lot of people have been in this specific situation.
For sure. But looking at your life, maybe it's a jealousy thing from some people because I think you live a very beautiful life and, you're very also honest and raw and
Hmm.
real about the ugly of it, but it's also very beautiful. And like for anybody to look at your life and judge that, I think
Hmm.
is
That's
definitely a
that's
reflection on them.
yes, absolutely. Because like that is, I mean, we all have those like ups and downs, but also,
Yeah.
hold on. Hey, don't do that. Um, it's I think making the space for the difficult really opens up for the joy. And honestly, because
Mm.
of that, has made room for so much more joy.
Yeah.
And like it was like a byproduct of it, of like, okay, well, I'll allow myself to feel sad or hurt or mad or whatever emotion came up. And with that, I was like, whew, that opened a lot of doors for really good stuff. Cause I don't think I was
Hmm.
like clinging on to something so much. Like it was like, let's just allow.
Well, that's like going back to the all-consuming thing, right? Like
Hmm.
when you are still hoping and wishing for that, every single month is a letdown, and every single month is like, it's gonna happen, it's not happening. It's gonna happen, it's
Right.
not happening. And to live in that nonstop, like you
It's a
have to let
lot.
go of that at some point.
Yes. Yeah, either becoming a parent or not becoming a parent because
Right, and
living
being
in
okay
that
with it.
space is a lot.
Yeah, and then finding, like I said, my life is not bad. I have a great husband, we have a cute house, and I'm fine. I'm trying to find the like things like, oh, we can take off and travel whenever we feel like it. I can sleep in whenever I feel like it. I can
Yes.
go to bed whenever I feel like it. Whenever my
Yes.
dog starts to drive me crazy, I'm like, oh my God, what if this was a child right now?
Oh, yeah. No, that's very real.
I'm
Because you're
like,
like,
go
this
to
is
your
hard
bed.
now.
Yeah. Yeah, I tell her, I'm like, go to your bed and leave me alone. You're driving me crazy. But like, I can't say that to a child.
Right. Right. No, it's real. We have a lot of like luxurious feelings in everyday moments. And those are kind of my favorite because I did feel like there was, and I know we've talked about this before, I did feel like there was a big, I had this pressure of like, well, if I'm not going to have kids, I got to do this like grand life. And then I was
Mm.
like, do I? I actually think that there's so much greatness in really delighting in the ordinary. It's
Mhm.
become my favorite.
And I want to acknowledge that that didn't come easy, right? Like,
No, absolutely not.
it's
Yes.
not like one day we just decided, oh, yay, my life is beautiful and it's all perfect and I'm gonna, like it has been a process and still is
And
at
still
times,
is. Yeah,
right? So,
absolutely. Yeah.
like that didn't come overnight. That was definitely, you got to work towards it.
Yes. Agreed.
So, oh man. Well, my dear, um, this has been so great.
This has been so great. Thank you for having me again.
Please, I love talking about this stuff. And, I think you are one of the few people that has been so open and honest about your journey and stuff and have, shown so much light on it too. So, I love these conversations because
Me too.
we need to have it more because it's
Yeah.
not talked about. Because like I said,
Yeah.
we're the story nobody wants to hear.
Right.
Sorry, everyone, but
But it's
not
like, let's
sorry.
not make it weird. There's a bunch of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. And it does seem to be, I mean, I guess I don't know because I'm not the person that chose not to have kids,
Hmm.
but I do have friends that chose not to have kids and they get the weird comments and stuff here and there and they do feel judged in that aspect too of just like,
Hmm.
what you mean you never wanted this? Why
Hmm.
would you never want this? But I do feel like it's a different, you know, set of judgment between the two of us.
Hmm.
So
I always say that I am so thankful for the child free by choice people because I feel like they really taught me that
yeah.
look what I can have. Like they're
Yeah.
doing it. And that was
Yeah.
that was a big eye opener moment for me when I was like, what if I get excited about that?
Yeah. I love what you said at the beginning about adult money now.
I
That
mean,
was like,
it's real.
it's so real. It's so real. I'm going to think about money so differently now
Yeah.
and what I'm going to do with it now. So, all right, my dear. Well, I will get this closed out. Do you have as of today's conversation, do you have any parting words for anybody listening at the moment?
I think really, and I know I always come back to this, but like there is such beauty and I feel like grace when we like find divine in the really small moments.
Mhm.
And like watching all of, I don't know if you're following along with this Artemis moon.
No.
Um,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
it is like hearing these astronauts talk about like it is wild that we get to live on this planet. It feels so magical. And it's like we're literally in space floating out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like and all of our emotions are valid because sometimes it's like, well, you don't have to feel these emotions. Like, no, 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 feel it all. But also it's a nice perspective to have this like overview effect of this is a pretty sweet space that we're in.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Yes.
And, we only get one life to live too.
Exactly.
So,
Yes.
make the most of it and the little things do count.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie, for coming on and doing this again. This is always so much fun. And I love following your journey and everything. So keep doing what you're doing, keeping light in this world because it's so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.